Friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Since it has been desolate. Almost nothing new has been coming out over the past like 6 months. Maybe one piddly wiener fragrance here or there, but for the most part, a desolate deathland of nothingness. But friends, I feel like the dam is about to break. Every year when we head into January and February, it's just like an avalanche, a tsunami of fragrance releases. Tsunami. Just a ton of them. I don't know why I like this little lightsaber type deal. In case you missed it, this is actually a tripod, but I broke it in a video on accident. Now I can use it to point forcefully at you. Basically what I'm getting at is, there's about to be a lot of new fragrances released, and we have the first batch right here. Some new Jean Paul Gaultier, some new Dolce Gabbana, some new Latafa, and also a new Armani. I'm gonna link in the description below where you can find more info on these fragrances, courtesy of iFragrance Official, and also a little bit of info from Scent Advice as well. So check them out if you want more information. Bros, where do we start? Let's start with the new Emporio Armani, because as of right now, there is very little information on this one. But it is yet another limited edition release. And I've kind of poked fun at these before because it's, you know, stronger with you leather, stronger with you oud, stronger with you tobacco, stronger with you amber. And I was thinking to myself, they're starting to run out of just notes that they can slap onto the end there. I mean, they could do like stronger with you vanilla or something. They've not done that one. But that's not what this new one is. No, this new one is stronger with you spices. Because spices. Now there's not a whole heck of a lot of information about this one out just yet, just a couple of pictures, a couple of notes, no official brand write-ups or anything like that. And the only notes that they have listed on there right now, black pepper and saffron, which, as you may have guessed, are spices. Oh, makes sense. Good job. Okay, no more of that, no more. I would imagine along with these spices, it's gonna have your typical stronger with you scent profile, right? So you're gonna have that kind of glazed chestnut vibe going on, warm, sweet, spicy. And I think for a lot of people, these stronger with you fragrances where they slap a note on the end have been a little hit or miss. Some of them have been highly regarded, others have come out and people have just really not cared a whole heck of a lot. So I have to see where this one falls in. You might look at this also and think to yourself, man, that sucks. You know, I want a mainline release, not just this special edition stuff. Well, friends, I would wager to you that there will absolutely be a normal release alongside this one. I would wager you money that that is the case, so I wouldn't worry too much. Nothing has been announced at this point, but for sure there's gonna be two stronger with yous next year. This one and then another one that's something Lee. Unless I'm completely wrong, which could happen. And when I say stronger with you something Lee, you know, absolutely, intensely, only. Although I could be wrong there, they did do Parfum and they did do Freeze, but they're doing a Lee, okay? For sure. So there's the first stronger with you of the year coming out, stronger with you spices. Let's move to Dolce & Gabbana. And this, my friends, is a pleasant surprise because D&G is going back to the line they should have never abandoned to begin with. The One. But it's also something that some people are gonna go, because the first fragrance we're gonna talk about is The One Eau de Parfum 2025. Yeah. This is becoming really, really common, which is taking a fragrance that exists and then changing it and calling it whatever the year is. Dior Homme 2020, Dior Homme Parfum 2025, Light Blue 2025, Aqua de Joe Eau de Toilette, whatever year they changed that. Was that 2024? I don't know. Everything runs together at this point. But this is becoming really common. You see what I'm saying? They take a fragrance that exists, they use the same name, and they just slap the year on the end of the year that they changed it. What does this also mean? It means if you love Dolce & Gabbana's The One Eau de Parfum as it is today, you might want to buy a bottle or 2 or 3. Because from the brand, it says The One Eau de Parfum for Men, a revamped edition of the iconic scent, revealing new depths of elegance. Crafted for the discerning individuals who want to stand out. A bold, luxurious blend with familiar notes. It's the same signature, made even more durable and magnetic. Almost sounded like I said durable. So that is a little bit contradictory, isn't it? They're like, it's a revamped edition, which means changed, revealing new depths of elegance. But then they say it has familiar notes. It's the same signature, but it's made more durable and magnetic. So they're trying to tell you it's kind of the same, but also not. And when you look at that note breakdown, it says tobacco orange, which I don't think is actually tobacco orange. I think it's Tarocco orange, but whatever, orange, grapefruit, and then clary sage, tobacco, amber, and woods. That's the note breakdown for this new one. And when you look at the note breakdown of the original, it had off the top basil, bergamot, and Tarocco orange, in the mid, orange blossom, lavender, and clary sage, and then in the base, amber, sandalwood, and cedarwood. Although, depending on where you look, it will be different. That was the note breakdown from Parfumo. If you look at Fragrantica, it's grapefruit, coriander, basil, cardamom, ginger, orange blossom, then amber, tobacco, and cedar. So you can see a little inconsistency here and there depending on where you're looking. But you'll notice that the note breakdown is different. It's simplified. So they are giving you familiar notes because you can find these notes in the original, but it is missing some of the things that the original had, which leads me to believe, perhaps incorrectly, that what they're doing is trying to pump the fragrance up, give it more performance, because nowadays that's really important, more so now than in 2015 when the original came out. If they can successfully take the one EDP and keep the scent smelling how it smells, but make it way stronger, then this is going to be amazing. If it's one of those deals though where you get this in, you spray it on side by side and you can tell right away, ooh, it's not the same thing, at that point, we'll see. Regardless though, the One Eau de Parfum 2025 is coming out. But that's not the only The One fragrance coming out. No, there's another one. But before that, codes. Here they are, just real quick. If you shop at any of these websites, use these codes, save yourself some money. A lot of codes for killer stores like JOMASHOP, the Perfume Box, Fragflex, and many more. So the one is the One Parfum. Dolce & Gabbana has had the One sitting on the sidelines for years, and they're bringing it back with that age-old tactic of let's make sure we have an eau de toilette, an eau de parfum, and a parfum. Do you know what usually comes after that? That's right, the elixir. Discover Dolce & Gabbana The One Parfum, a reinvented interpretation of the EDP with a denser, more seductive trail. The cozy, spiced blend tickles the senses and captures the modern masculinity's elegance with the enveloping amber notes that meet rich labdanum, while the base of tobacco leaves behind an irresistible magnetic trail. So they have blessed us with a dumbed down 3-note note breakdown as of now. Hopefully as time goes that actually expands, but right now, black pepper, labdanum, tobacco. And they actually also have some new media here that shows like the lineup of the fragrance bottles. Every single fragrance brand does this, where it has like, you know, the EDT, the EDP, the parfum, and they're lined up, and then it's like intensity, and they fill it in like, ooh, this one's just a 3 out of 5 intensity. This one's 5 out of 5. But they've put that there, and interestingly enough, they have the eau de toilette, the eau de parfum, the parfum, and then gold. So apparently that's the one that they want to roll with, the gold one. Which I think the gold one smells pretty nice off the top, but it had not the greatest performance. And assuming that they are being 100% here with the write-up, and they're saying, hey, it's an interpretation of the eau de parfum specifically, but we have made it denser and more seductive, that would tell you that they're trying to do what the typical expectation is of a parfum flanker. And by that I mean basically taking that scent profile that you already know and love and going like, let's make it smell more expensive, let's make it richer, let's make it deeper, let's make it bolder, you know, that kind of vibe. And I mean, that's what it reads like, right? A black pepper, so a little bit of fresh spice off the top. It's probably gonna have a touch of citrus in there as well if I had to guess. Labdanum, as it dries down, is going to give it more of a nice, sweet, warm kind of scent profile, not as heavy on the vanilla. I say that, the One Eau de Parfum is not heavy on vanilla necessarily. I'm talking about with like all the fragrances out nowadays that are. And to be fair, the original Eau de Parfum has amber in it, right? So labdanum fits right in there. It's just gonna be like pitched here as like a more expensive, higher end take on that existing DNA. And they do give it a 5 out of 5 in terms of intensity on the little media sheet. The Eau de Parfum and the Eau de Toilette both get a 3 as far as their intensity, so we'll have to see. And I am hopeful beyond hope that this stuff is going to be fire. It has to be, right? Like, please. Because if it comes out and flops, Dolce & Gabbana is probably gonna look at it and be like, oh, kill the one again. Just if it's successful, then hopefully they build on it and we get some better things coming out. Because not for nothing, but they've been trying to really push the K line for a while, and it just does not do as well in sales as far as like all the other big brand blue fragrances. They refreshed the light blue line. The Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme line has been stagnant. You know, it's been dead for years and years and years. So hopefully this does well. Otherwise, I feel like Dolce & Gabbana is going to be like, I don't know what to do, guys. I'm out of ideas. Although bringing back the One is not like the biggest idea ever, I guess. So Dolce & Gabbana The One Parfum, a deeper, richer eau de parfum, and a new boosted interpretation of the original, the One Eau de Parfum. So that thing happened again, where I filmed the video, and then the day after I filmed the video, more fragrances are announced, so hey, it's me from the future again. And if it wasn't important, I would have just left it, but there is a lot of stuff to talk about. So the first thing is some fragrances that you haven't heard about yet anywhere, probably anyway. And I just found out about these because a store told me, hey, this is coming in real soon. But right now there are no pictures, there are no notes, just the names. But I figured you'd want to know about it, and when I get more information, I'll do an updated video and let you guys know the whole note breakdown and everything. But these fragrances are apparently going to be announced very soon. First up, Dolce & Gabbana K Elixir. And as I said, I'm in the future right now, so like the main video, that was me a couple days ago. So I might actually say some things right now that I alluded to before that I wasn't sure about. Yeah, it's a whole thing. We're in a time paradox. But K Elixir by Dolce & Gabbana apparently going to be coming very soon. And I feel like personally, this is kind of like the Hail Mary, because the K line has not exactly crushed it compared to a lot of the other big fragrance lines out there that it should hypothetically be competing against. And so if they come with the Elixir and they come with like a completely new angle, kind of like Sauvage Elixir was a new angle versus Sauvage, then maybe he's got a chance. But if K Elixir comes out and it's basically just K again, except this time deeper, then I don't know how much people are gonna care about that. I'm assuming they're probably gonna take that aromatic edge that the K line is known for and tamp that down and instead give it this big boost of deepness, maybe deeper woods. Who knows, maybe they toss an oud accord in there. I would imagine a good amount of vanilla. But yeah, Dolce & Gabbana K Elixir, going to be announced soon. You know what else is going to be announced soon, apparently? Acqua di Gio Eau de Parfum Intense. What the? This is, to me, just kind of a WTF. On the one hand, Armani is gonna wanna come out with Acqua di Gio fragrances. That makes sense. On the other hand, you would think maybe just kick off a new line, a new flanker line, right? Because right now they have the Profundo line, then they have the main line. But instead of doing like a third newer line, they're like, oh, where can we fit this in? Eau de Parfum, but this time it's intense, boys. I don't have the notes. I would assume it's going to have more of a woody aspect to it, maybe a deeper woodiness, and also gonna have that citrus that Acqua di Gio is known for off the top. But it just feels like, to me, kind of a weird release, right? Because I guess it slots in between the Eau de Parfum and the Parfum, right? It's gonna be in between there. But what exactly is the angle? I'm assuming by throwing the name Intense in there that they're going to try to make this the stronger Acqua di Gio, the more powerful Acqua di Gio, which does kind of trend with what's popular right now, you know, really powerful fragrances. But I know that this is going to have a lot of detractors just because of that naming convention, and that if it had a different name, then people would be maybe a little more open to it. But with it coming out being Eau de Parfum Intense, that does kind of make it just an odd man out fragrance to me. Obviously we won't know more until it's actually officially announced, which probably will be in the next month or so, but that one's coming. And then the other one is Stronger With You, not spices, but powerfully. And this is the best one, because when I filmed this one originally, I said that there was gonna be a Stronger With You Lee fragrance. Yes, powerfully. Wow, 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 wow. So that is the rumored new name, no official notes or anything like that, but they're getting back into it with the adjectives, right? Intensely, absolutely, powerfully. No notes on this one. My anticipation is that it's going to be the most powerful of the Stronger With Yous. I know, really reaching with that. But I would anticipate that they're going to strip away some of the potentially softer notes of the Stronger With You fragrance line. You know, stuff like lavender, sage, kind of strip that away, and instead really build a focus on a powerful base. The question does remain though, do they go full bore like woods and oud and leather and things like that to really boost that powerful kind of vibe? Or is it going to be a sweet overdose. You know, hit us with the amber, with the labdanum, with the vanilla, stuff like that. You guys let me know what you think, but Stronger With You powerfully, apparently coming very soon alongside that other Stronger With You. And now the fragrance that we do have more information on, and this one is Y Iced by Yves Saint Laurent. Yes, a new summertime Y. It's got a big old write-up, let's check it out. Discover Y Iced Cologne, the latest flanker of the famous Y collection by Yves Saint Laurent. This flanker is centered around the invigorating masculine energy with a cooling blend that energizes the senses. That's how it's written. I know that came out weird, that's how it's written. Discover Y Iced Cologne Eau de Toilette Intense, the aromatic fougere fragrance for men that exudes freshness and strength in every moment. A shot of liquid ice in a spray that delivers a refreshing surge of energy that lasts up to 12 hours. Remember what I just said about the whole trend right now. Power, power, power. Although I will say, if they pull this off, a summertime fragrance that does truly last 12 hours, and I'm not talking 12 hours as like a barely perceptible skin scent, but where you can actually pick it up, then people probably would be interested in that. The fragrance opens with a fresh note of ice mint enhanced by Arctical, an exclusive cooling molecule that provides clarity and freshness. It's the new Ambroxan, boys. At the heart, the blend of Moroccan mint tea and blue sage reveals itself, giving the fragrance its dynamic and masculine character. The base anchors the fragrance with ambrosia and patchouli, leaving a sophisticated woody trail that lasts all day. And it says that it has a newly designed ice blue bottle created by Suzanne Dalton, which in the picture just looks like a Y bottle, except the fragrance is dyed more blue. But we'll see when we actually get it in the hand. In the hand is when you gotta get it. They even hit you with like a bullet point here. 12-hour freshness for unstoppable energy. Vibrant blend of mint and blue sage accords. And eau de toilette intense that lasts all day. That's the same thing, they said that twice now. With exclusive Arctical for an icy clean feeling. Woody base of ambrosia and patchouli for depth. So yeah, note breakdown there. Ice mint, mint tea, blue sage, ambrosia, patchouli with Arctical. And in the little chart that they have, the little media chart that they put on Macy's and places like that, where it has the intensity level of each fragrance, they have this one as 2.5 out of 5. So a 2.5 out of 5 intensity that lasts 12 hours. They have it as more intense than the eau de toilette and less intense than everything else. And a couple of things I want to point out here really quickly. Typically, this style of flanker does not do that well. I'm talking about in terms of sales. Like, let's take stock of just a few examples. Y Eau Fraiche from this exact line, discontinued. Stronger With You Freeze, discontinued. Sauvage Very Cool Spray, discontinued. Sauvage Eau Forte, we'll see. And there are a bunch of other flankers that you can get into. Code Ice back in the day. Even things that don't necessarily have Eau Fraiche or ice in the name, like Wanted Tonic by Azzaro. There are a lot of scent profiles that have been made to be a summertime release in a somewhat deeper line overall that have just flopped. So this one is already working uphill to be one that doesn't flop. The expectation is it's not gonna do that hot, which is why I think they're leading with the performance thing and really trying to push that. Like, no guys, it lasts. This is not a 30-second scent. So that's one thing I would keep my eyes on, is traditionally this type of flanker has not done that hot. The other thing is that they're clearly leaning into the mint. Ice mint, Arctical, mint tea, and then blue sage as well, kind of giving that very fresh, brisk vibe, just the way that they've written it out with the bottle and everything. So they're trying to lean, maybe not necessarily to smell like these fragrances, but to lean into that sort of style of marketing freshness that something like Torino 21 or even Imagination or Pacific Chill does. And again, I'm not thinking that this is gonna smell like those fragrances, but they do have some similarities, right? Fresh tea or brisk mint, that is clearly what they're aiming for here, just with a Y twist to it. So for the third time, I'm not saying this is gonna smell like Imagination or Torino 21 or Pacific Chill, but what I am saying is that YSL may have looked at some of those fragrances and gone, oh, well, this is successful, like, you know, approaching things this way. So maybe we take that understanding and then approach it in our way. That would not surprise me. But there is the Y flanker for this next year, Y Iced, which I suppose is the replacement for Y Eau Fraiche. to an extent. Let me guys know what you think about those ones. Back to me in the past. Latafa has also dropped a new fragrance, Maahir Honor. I've been on the lookout for it, haven't been able to buy it just yet. When it comes to Latafa, I try to buy stuff when it becomes available online, but this one is only showing up on their Middle Eastern website, so I can't purchase it right now. Whenever it actually pops up for sale, whether it's at a discounter or Latafa's own website, where I will get screwed and pay more than I should because they get it first, you know, a lot of times. Surprise, we made this stuff, so we're gonna get it first. What? But yeah, when I finally can get my hands on it, I'll buy it and see how it is. Let's read about it. Maahir Honor, a fragrance that ignites the senses with a bright dynamic rush of citrus, botanical notes with refined intensity of white flowers. That's how it reads. As the notes unveil, a twist emerges through the lush green energy of Arabian moringa with herbal depth to sharpen the musky and woody dry down. Maahir Honor is a fragrance that commands as much attention as a white stallion, balancing raw power and effortless elegance. Raw power. So this one has an actual somewhat robust note breakdown compared to what we've been talking about. Bergamot, sweet lemon, mint, and thyme off the top. Lavender, rosemary, jasmine, and that Arabian moringa in the mid, and then musk, cedar, and amber in the base. Every Latafa fragrance that comes out seems to get a good amount of talk, so let me know in the comments if you know what this one is supposed to smell similar to. I'm staying clear of it right now. I've not looked anything up other than can I purchase this, and I can't right now, so other than that, I'm like, you know, head in the sand, trying to like leave it as a surprise for myself. But drop it in the comments if you know what it is, and help educate other people out there who maybe you're looking for it and want to purchase it before more info comes out or whatever. What else has been announced? Well, the new Le Male, which is Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male in blue. And this one is quite different. So what Jean Paul Gaultier was doing for a little while is on their website, they had where you could vote, okay? So they had 3 different bottles, which you can see right here. So 3 different Le Male bottles. And they said, here are the 3 finalists. Only one will claim its place in the Le Male family. Stay tuned, the reveal is coming soon. And so you could vote on one of these fragrances, and apparently this is the winner. And I knew for a little while that they were doing this whole voting thing. I didn't actually go and vote myself, but I knew that it was going on. I heard from other people. And to me, and you guys let me know what you think, but to me, just going solely off the pictures of the bottles, the most boring one won. That's what I feel like, but I could be completely wrong. Obviously, the one on the far right is the winner, the one that is blue with black stripes. You'll notice a couple things here as well. The one that won has the more standard style clip. The one in the middle and the one on the left, the ones that lost, they have the elixir style. So they have like the gold larger ring and everything like that. I don't know if that plays into what those fragrances are or were, but it is a different design choice that I noticed. The one in the middle, obviously the most different one with the whole white and then like almost caramel colored stripes. That one to me, really unique looking. I would have liked to have seen what it was. Maybe it was like vanilla with caramel. That's just what the color scheme is telling me, but could have been cool, could have been very different. And then the other one had black with blue stripes. And if you look closely, it is, it's ribbed for your pleasure. It's ribbed like the Le Male Elixir and Elixir Absolute bottles. So it's like that, but it's a black bottle. So I would imagine that one would have been very deep and heavy and dark and rich. At least that's what the color scheme gives off. And of the 3, that might have been the one that I voted for. If I wanted to go completely just like freaky, I'd go with the middle one and be like, let's roll the dice, you know, let's see what this is. But I think that of those 3, I probably would have voted for the black one with the blue stripes. Now, obviously we're gonna get to what this new one is, what it entails in just a second, but I do wanna say that if Jean Paul Gaultier legitimately had 3 finished fragrances, like each one of these is a separate different fragrance and 3 separate bottles all ready to go, just release them. Like I get doing the whole voting thing to try to like drum up interest and all this stuff, but if they're good enough that you would have released it, had more people voted for it just based on the bottle and everything, just release it. Because who knows, maybe that one on the left is actually way better than the one on the right. If nothing else, release them as limited editions or something. And then, you know, if one of them goes crazy, then go, okay, cool. Well, people love this. We're gonna release it as a standard release now. But no, as of right this minute, it looks like, and again, this is, you know, from the outside looking in, but it looks like they're killing those other two off and just saying, okay, well, and they're coming out with Le Male in Blue. So this is what it says. Discover Le Male in Blue, the limited edition scent by Jean-Paul Gaultier. The bold sailor is back, and this time the signature Le Male lavender is smoothed by the intensity of blue scents. Metallic anise accord and benzoin ground this fragrance in absolute power. Power! So that note breakdown, pretty simple. Yep, lavender, the metallic accord, benzoin, that is pretty much it. And I know that a lot of people are gonna say, ah man, a blue fragrance, like how boring. They should have released one of the other two, which is what I already said, but they should have released one of the other two because they look more interesting. But it does make sense when you think about it. Dior Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel, YSL Y, these fragrances are still towards the top of every single bestseller list. And Jean-Paul Gaultier has become more and more popular over the past couple of years. I mean, they've always been popular, but even more so. And I would imagine that when they look across their entire lineup, they're like, we don't have a direct competitor to those fragrances. You could say like the original is very versatile and so it kind of competes, or you could say, you know, Le Beau is kind of fresh and sweet, so it kind of competes, but really they're different scent profiles. And so they get to pop this one out there, do a nice blue fragrance twist on an established DNA in an established line and see how it works. So that's why it's limited, I would guess. If it comes out and crushes, they go like, ooh, it's not limited anymore, boys. If it comes out and it kind of flops, they go, okay, well, yeah, it was just limited. No big deal, just cut it off. And I'm not gonna write this thing off until I smell it, because Bleu Electrique, La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, that stuff to me smelled amazing. And at the end of the day, just dumbing it down, it is a blue fragrance version of La Nuit de l'Homme. So if they can hit something here that comes out and smells on equal footing with that, or maybe better, then yeah, I'm here for it. So there we go, a new Le Male coming out soon, and where this is a limited edition, I would guess kind of same thing like with the Stronger With You guess, that they'll hit us with at least one more flanker that is supposed to be like a more permanent edition. But honestly guys, if those two fragrances, those two bottles, if those things are completed fragrances, drop those. I mean, through the year, who cares, whatever. Drop one in like June and drop one in August or something, or one in May and one in August. But there we go guys, some new fragrances coming out, Dolce & Gabbana, Armani, Jean-Paul Gaultier, and more. Let me know in the comments what you are most excited for. I think for me, probably kind of a tie between the new The One and the new Le Male. Mainly because I'm excited The One is coming back and I want to see if they pull it off with the Le Male. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.